Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time of the day you're watching this. It is Sunday, July 23, just coming on 8 a.m. over there on the East Coast, and this is round two of doing this video. I had been doing it earlier, and just as I was coming to the end, the typhoon that is hitting me very closely here decided to cut the power out. So we will go for round two. Starting you out here with the SPX, and I'll try and remember where I was, but first and foremost, we have two green weeks in a row. Two. Considering what we have on top of the schedule this week and how I will go over it very quickly, how oversold the NASDAQ is, as well as the Dow having had a 10 consecutive green close streak, longest since 2017. I believe there was 12 times in history going back to the beginning of the stock market that it has had a 10 or greater streak. Compressed. SPX, less than 20 points there on Friday. Less than 20 points at the start of the month, which is obvious because that was 4th of July. A lot of green closes, definitely a lot of green closes, but very compressed. Only two sessions have we had greater than 40 points. The session that we had greater than 40 points recently, the 47.71 session, we're giving adequate warnings that we were due to get a 47 point or a greater than 40 point range coming up, as we didn't have one the week prior. And it decided to come when we had, I'll come back to this in a minute, the Microsoft article that came out from The Verge saying that they might raise prices to $30. We broke the safe edge. 8 times that has happened since the March lows, 1 out of every 9 or so days, always a reason why. And because we broke that safe edge, the safe trade did not work. Day prior on Monday, not going with the safe edge because credit was so compressed, went with the risk trade, $1.20 risk, $3.80 credit. Looking for a close back down below 45.10 and did not get it, only got to 45.22 at the end of the day. So on Thursday, the QQQ had a minus 2% session. Now, I had thrown out on Tuesday of last week that I was going to be buying the August 25 QQQ 380 puts. I got in at 750, 730, 725, shared my size. Obviously, very convicted on this. Sent in an email again on Tuesday afternoon when it dropped below 6. So you had the entire rest of the day on Tuesday and half of the day on Wednesday to get in well below 6. A little bit in the afternoon there on Thursday. And then you had your minus 2% session. And going back over the 10 years that I've run this room, getting a minus 2% day on the QQQ and having had a trade alert put out, place would have gone absolutely fucking nuts.
Boom.
Instead, people were trying to buy the dip, asking, is it time to buy calls? Yeah, that was the reason why I didn't put out a video on Friday, because the entire Thursday evening and Friday morning, Friday afternoon for me, prior to the open, I'm questioning myself as to why in the fuck do I do this 60 hours a week? If, for what? So anyway, that is where we're at, and I will take this and go straight into the next point. And the next point being that we are very, very much oversold over on that NASDAQ. This is your holy trinity, the Dow, the SPX, and the NDX. Looking at the 4 hour. 4 hour on the SPX, not sold off, not oversold, but significant enough to be worried because your NASDAQ is very aggressively oversold. Like I've shared with a lot of people, oversold is your indicator, it's your warning sign. When you do get a lower low and a higher RSI, thus a buy divergence, that is your get the fuck out of any shorts that you are in and start exposing yourself to the long side. As of right now, we are oversold. Come on, Mousy, you are going to come in with me and work. So I will bring you back to Friday. And again, another one where only people that have been with me for a long time or a couple of those that have taken advantage and done these free, absolutely no fucking charge, one-on-one calls with me on weekends. So I can get to know them, they can get to know me, and more importantly, when they ask me a question, I can answer it appropriately. Thank you, Saul. I really enjoyed our greater than hour on Saturday. Friday, posted there prior to the open. Anyone unaware, because everybody wanted to just buy the fucking dip, we created some gaps below overnight. So here's your pricing on your 0 DTEs, 45, 45, 40, 454s, and 379s. They were at $6.69, $1.09, $1.54 at the opening bell. You had, within 30 minutes, 100% on the SPX, nearly 100% on SPY, nearly 100% on QQQ, and then an hour later, we got the QQQ 100% as we were pending to go and touch the lows. But then again, your VIX was not convicted with you. So if you did decide that you were going to hold on to them through the end of the day, they closed at $9, $1.80, and $3.20. So you can put a sexy girl in the lap, but you can't make her dance. Go on to the spreads. And again, with the spreads, 45, 50, 45, 45 calls. 6:43 in the morning, posted it out. Had some very nice replies from Jack, who also liked it. He got in, let's see here, spread is down to $1.90. He's in at 285. He took it off at $1.60. So $2.15 risk, $1.60 in profit on that. And as you know, I was wrong. I said there at 1209. I still say we close below 45.35. 130 price action was saying that we were looking at 45.60, showing you how your 45.85 is in charge. Range was still very, very small. And what we wound up with, and I don't think I'm on the right chart. I am on the right chart. There we go. That was right around here, 2:30 in the afternoon, after having come right there at 145 up to that 45.55. Stephen, that was one of the questions that you asked, and that was the reason why I answered it the way I did, was because of what I was seeing. From that 45.55, though, it just fucking completely fell apart. So you got full credit over there on the spreads. Your puts, you could have got back into the puts if you were active enough, being that it was a Friday, instead of going out and getting some fresh air. And this is what we are working with now. And I will come back to this in a second and bring you back over here. And I need a new mouse because this one is definitely run its course. I didn't share it up here. Oh my God. So anyway, these are your earnings coming out this week. It is a very, 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 very big week. Don't go and overexpose yourself. Not only is it a big week with Tuesday after the close, Microsoft and Alphabet, they can guide, they can AI, they can BJ, they can do a lot of things. Wednesday, we have the FOMC meeting after Boeing reports, after a few other people report that aren't that significant, but then we get Meta. And Elon Musk has already killed Meta. And on Thursday, typically on Thursday of this week, you would get Apple and Amazon, and we don't. They're not reporting until next week, first week of August. So what we've got coming out here on Thursday is McDonald's before the open, and you're done for the rest of the week. It's over with. How we ended last week was that rotation out of the big names and the rotation into a lot of the Dow names. And that was the reason why your Dow and your small caps were all up on the week in the initial part of it, mainly sticking with the Dow. And then you had your sell-off over there on Friday as well from the Russell 2000. So as we progress and head into this week, having been very oversold on the NASDAQ, I want you to keep in mind what I shared there over in the alert room about that 20%. Okay? It is not a strategy. It is not a trade indicator. It is an observance which was clear as a fucking bell twice. This is the third time. And what I'm concerned about for now is that July is only 193 points. And you are oversold over there on the NASDAQ. So the concern is that we are going to be breaking that 45.78 this week. We are going to be getting a third green week. And we are going to be looking up there into that 4,600 range, specifically 46.05. Come on, baby, work with me. Work with me. I'll go get a new one for you tomorrow. Specifically this 46.05 with a Fibonacci at 46.77. And more importantly, come on, baby. All we got to do is make it through this video. A gap, the only gap above. And that's over here from January 4th of 2022, 46.63 to 46.37, the March highs. 46.05, very obvious. This is a pending, obvious, very common sense possibility as we go into the end of this week and the very beginning of August. Very distinct possibility. If we should break down, not into just these two gaps, but we do break down below 44.40, 44.34, there could very well be signs that this run, which has been going now since the March lows, has finally completed itself, and we will be looking at a bullish wave 4. And a bullish wave 4 would be somewhere down here around 4,300 from a bullish point of view. That's all that I'm saying if we do get a dip. And do your math. 45.78 minus, call it 250 points, and you're right down there around that 43.40, 43.11, right over here holding this low from back at the end of June. So basically it means we wipe out the month of July and the last couple of days of June. That's about it. So with the earnings that are going to be out this week, it is very, very cautious because we are oversold, because they could guide. But what we have seen so far is exactly like I was saying, where why go ahead and get involved in the earnings when you could just play the fade and the sell-off after the earnings? You've had Tesla, you've had Netflix. What we have coming up this week is Microsoft. The bullshit AI article completely wiped out into Friday. Wider point of view, let's go wider. Let's go 90 days. Still need to update these Fibonacci's, but here's your 90 days. Here was your big move over here in April when they invented AI. Here's your gap from that AI. Google. Google holding itself pretty well, pretty healthy, but still very, 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 very far off of its all-time highs. And you come over, Google's always been pretty boring, and you have Meta. I can't wait for Elon Musk to absolutely destroy this company. Meta, gap, filled one gap, got below 300. It's a little bit of a start. And here's your big AI gap from back here in April. So again, a lot to be cautious with. McDonald's at all-time highs. Jesus, man. Ugh. Boeing, another one that we trade a lot. And Boeing, you have been channeling here not only for 90 days, you have been channeling here since the beginning of the year. 216, short it above it. 201, long it below it. Channeling through here for the entire year. Anybody else wants any stocks that are going to be reporting this week, absolutely feel free to send me a message. I'll share you my chart. I'll share you my views. And the one thing right now that is a little bit leaning towards a sell down to continue with these guys reporting this week is the VIX holding this 1339. That's the only thing right now that is saying you got a shot. But as far as we go, we've got the FOMC on Wednesday. We got a lot of big names reporting this week. Like you saw already, fading the tops is much easier than trying to go over there and get involved way ahead. And most importantly, this is not reporting this week. It's not reporting next week. It's not reporting for a couple of weeks. It reports in the middle of August. The NVIDIA Ponzi scheme is starting to unravel. Even though this is only a little bit of a dip down here, you start breaking down below that 40-40 range, and you are going to open yourself up to getting down below 400. I would like to see minus 400 by the end of this month. Ponzi scheme is unraveling. See you guys in the chat room. Have a great weekend. And more importantly, before we go, you're doing this for a reason. You're doing it for a reason, and you're doing it so that you can be somewhere when the shit does hit the fan. And it is going to be hitting the fan in the coming 12, 18, 24 months. You want to be able to be the greatest fucking trader in your zip code, your area code, your fucking state when that time comes. Everything that happens between now and then, it's great, making progress. Without a shadow of a doubt, yes, you can fucking make tons of money in this market. There's no question. But you want to hone in on your skills, because you see what's going on around you with all the fentanyl. You see what's going around you with all the politics. Fuck, I'm watching a video yesterday that someone shared. Some woman walking into a fucking grocery store, takes all her clothes off, starts rubbing fucking cupcakes, and all kind of shit all over her. Nobody's allowed to do anything because you're not allowed to touch her. Transgender kids that are getting driven 300 fucking miles at the age of 9 so they can go to another state to get their fucking puberty blockers. And then you've got these fucking guys that walk into Home Depot with shopping carts, grab all the tools, put them in the shopping carts, and walk out because you're not allowed to call the police and you're not allowed to stop them. There was a time when I still lived there that there was a little bit of fucking pride nationwide. Tony Bennett will remind you of that. And, man, something is eventually going to set off. Whether it's a credit event or it's internal, be ready, because the NASDAQ has a long way down to go.
America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to